Let me paint you a picture. A personal one, not one that may be easily understood. Back in 2018, I was just finishing up a very stressful first year at college and was a budding anime fan myself, binging series left and right and just absorbing myself in the culture and memes and everything surrounding it. I moved home in the summer and was having trouble finding jobs and figuring out if I wanted to stay in my same major and many other troubles which to me now seem mundane, but back then were driving me to be an absolutely emotional wreck. I made several difficult decisions and then had to move right back to school, still in turmoil internally over a lot of issues going on in my life. I was dealing with stress-based anxiety and depression, as well as dealing more and more with my out-of-control and pathetic side. I still was enjoying anime as a form of escapism, but was lacking something in my own life and even in my relationship and friendships. Late 2018, I began browsing Netflix at 3 in the morning as I was wont to do so, and noticed that amongst their newly populated anime section was an anime I had vaguely heard of earlier in the year. To preface, this is before I knew about the whole Netflix hell thing where they hold anime until they are fully released and fully dubbed. That show was called Violet Evergarden. I fired the show up on a whim and saw it was done by Kyoto Animation. My excitement grew as I had recently watched A Silent Voice with my roommate and had previously watched K-On! And Sound Euphonium. The anime opened with a scene between two people in military garb in a marketplace, a man and a girl, clearly with an odd relationship I gathered from body language and the way they spoke to each other. It's love, I said to myself, when the girl inquired what the feeling she had was when she gazed upon a brooch that looked like the man's eyes. That answer was obvious both to me and the man in the show, but as the scenes began to unfold and the music and stunning animation swept me up in the story before me, I began to understand why the question was posed. The girl was, of course, named Violet. She was abandoned as a child during a war that much resembles our World War I, but nothing is known of her past. She was found and picked up by a man named Dietfried Bougainvillea, who realized her use as a weapon of war after she murdered several soldiers that attempted to rape her. Dietfried gifted her to his brother Gilbert and told him that she was only to be used as a weapon. Gilbert trained her and used her in battles to turn the tide, and she became infamous as the Battle Maiden of Leidenschaftlich. But Gilbert understood that she was just a kid, and a human at that, and slowly taught her how to speak and read and write. As you may have surmised, he was the man with Violet in the first scene, and the object of Violet's affections, though she doesn't understand it. As I sat there and watched one episode after another, I, an abnormally emotionally fueled male, was struck by how a show could make me understand something I hadn't felt before: emotionlessness. Violet was left alone after the war, with no arms and a burning desire. I want to know what I love you means. In the final battle, she was gravely wounded and lost both arms defending Gilbert, but was buried alongside him in rubble. Upon awakening with her new prosthetics and no idea if Gilbert is alive or dead, she recalls how in their final moments he had told her his final orders were to live. He then says, "I love you," right before the mortars fall. These orders, along with those mysterious 3 words, are all Violet can think about as she is taken in by a soldier friend of Gilbert's. The man, Claudia Hodgins, has retired from the army and has since opened a post office. He doesn't quite know what to do with the emotionless, hyper-literal Violet, but knows she is hurting because of her past, even if she can't realize it yet. He brings her in at his company to learn a job and provide her a place to live. She attempts delivery work, but is entranced more by the other facet of the CH Postal Company, that being the work of the Auto Memories dolls. The dolls are proxy writers or ghostwriters for the population that are either illiterate or unconfident in their skills and desire for letters to be sent for them, as the dolls take their client's spoken word and glean the true meaning behind them, turning them into eloquent letters. For the emotionless Violet, this job is magical, but she struggles to understand the intricacies behind understanding others' emotions, much less how to then put them into letters. Episode after episode of the series flew by me, and I watched Violet slowly begin to understand both her own emotions and those around her, and her repertoire and skill began to grow as well. Each episode, being a disconnected short story in themselves, served to show the moments of Violet's journey that impacted her the most, and over time painted a beautiful picture of a broken girl made whole again. For me, this show couldn't have come at a better time in my life. It taught me a new feeling, emotionlessness, something I'd never understood. And once I understood it, the show took me on a journey of, well, I guess I'll call it rediscovery. Call it corny or stupid, what you will, but for me, it led me to rediscover anew emotions like anger, sorrow, joy, envy, and of course love, not just romantically, but for those around me. Over my life, my overly empathetic personality had always served to label me as someone good to talk to, as I could parse through people's emotions easily and offer advice to them since no matter what, I always empathized with them. With time, this became burdensome, as I felt I had so many emotions inside of me that I had lost myself. I couldn't tell what emotions were mine or someone else's. Violet Evergarden took me back to a blank slate and then showed me where I stood, how other people think and deal with things, how emotions look and feel again. In an, I suppose, cheesy way, I was able to rediscover my own emotions and how things made me feel. This anime is my favorite one, not because it's the most beautiful story or animation I've ever seen. The anime has its flaws, as does any body of work or piece of art. I'm not here to call it the pinnacle of storytelling. This anime is my favorite, for mainly personal reasons, but I wanted to share why it means so much to me, as is the basis for this idea of the My Love Letter 2 series. I hope this video has inspired some of you to give the show a try. The show is marvelous, the music is one of my favorite soundtracks of any show, movie, or anime, and the animation is just absolutely stunning. I even like the dub of it, and that's saying something. So, thank you all for watching, but most importantly, thank you Violet Evergarden for teaching me so much. I love you.